Welcome back to the podcast, ABCs of Politics and Culture. Last week on one of our shows, my co-host Charlie Meadows mentioned that Logan County, our own county in Oklahoma, has the most conservative political activists per capita in the state. And before we move on with our show, I want to brag on my co-hosts. Bob, next to me, is at the Capitol often, working to pull our legislators along in his quest for constitutional correctness. He might as well take his pillow and his blanket along. Who knows, maybe he does. But then there's Charlie to my far left, founder of the Oklahoma Conservative Political Action Committee, better known as OPAC. He has helped guide Oklahoma politics in the right direction for many years and is well revered in Oklahoma and beyond. But today we introduce yet another defender of our liberties from the middle of the country, whom I've been so blessed and honored to have worked with over the past 8 years. We present a man who has spent years standing at the intersection of policy, principle, and a whole lot of paperwork at the Oklahoma State Capitol, Don Spencer. Don is a lifelong Oklahoman and has served as president of the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association since 2016. He's also CLEAT certified firearm instructor and a licensed armed security officer. But if you ask Don what the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association really is, he'll tell you it's not just a gun group, it's a liberty group. And as he likes to say, we just realize it may take firearms to maintain that liberty. The organization itself was founded in 2009, and since then, Don has helped write and promote more than 150 measures and policy changes aimed at restoring what he sees as the rights of citizens to keep and bear arms. That's a lot of legislation, frankly, more than most of us want to read before our second cup of coffee. Don's background might surprise you. He graduated from Tulsa Union High School, attended Oklahoma City University, and has spent more than 40 years working as a professional photographer. So if you ever need someone who knows how to frame both a shot and a constitutional argument, he's your guy. But the reason he got involved in this work started with a moment of frustration back in 2009. While attending an armed security guard class at a vocational school, Don was told he couldn't leave a firearm in his vehicle. And at the time, that was actually a felony under Oklahoma law. When he realized how restrictive and, in his view, how ridiculous some of those laws were, he decided to do something about it. And he did. Since then, the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association has maintained a daily presence at the state capitol during legislative sessions, working with lawmakers, attorneys, scholars, and Second Amendment experts to craft legislation, organize grassroots support, and educate both legislators and the public about the founders' intent behind the Second Amendment. The results speak for themselves. Nearly 40 pro-Second Amendment measures passed through the legislative process, including legal protections for commercial gun ranges, allowing SDA permit holders to keep firearms locked in vehicles on K-12 and career tech campuses, expanded authority for private schools to set their own weapons policies, and helping make Oklahoma an open carry state. In short, whether you agree with him or not, Don Spencer has become one of the most influential voices in Oklahoma when it comes to Second Amendment policy. So today we're going to talk about how he got here, what it's really like working inside the legislative process, and why he believes the fight for liberty in Oklahoma is far from over. Don Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well done, Don. Well done.
I'm so influential, I have to take my shoes off before entering the house going home. So that's how far you guys, you've probably heard that before, but that's probably a true story. So thank you.
Now, before we go much further, in our last show on Monday, we were talking about lobbyists and bribes and backdoor deals, but I was told to get Don Spencer here, he had to have ice cream. And so we're being transparent.
That's right.
We might have had to bribe him a little bit, but there's your ice cream.
That's right. Now, like I say, they need to do this at the state capitol. When they do have ice cream day at the state capitol, you talk about everyone is in such a better mood. They're so much nicer. This should be, we should make a law to require this. There you go.
Who brings ice cream?
The ice cream and milk company contribute to it. They
like Brahms or
it's
Bluebell or some
I think
of those
it's
others?
actually the Association of Milk Producers of some sort.
Okay.
Now, does the rum?
But let's be clear.
Does the rum
when
ice
there's
cream?
ice cream around, you don't ask a lot of questions.
You just
There's
partake,
there's
right?
part times you just need to keep your
Well,
mouth
how
shut
come
or
no
full.
one told us about ice cream day?
I'm telling
I
you.
didn't know it was out there.
Because
Yeah.
I like short lines. That's why.
Does the rum ice cream pass the Shane Jet test?
I don't know. I've not seen it out there. I think it's actually rum raisin, so it's
Yeah,
kinda-
Oh, okay, all right, rum raisin. ice
That
cream.
would be my favorite. I do want to mention something here. One of the things I've noticed is, Don, you do some things in sequences. For example, the first thing was concealed carry. You had lots of opposition to that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got that, and after a period of time, we saw that all that opposition was baloney. So then it was open carry.
Right.
Lots of opposition to that. And after a period of time, we realized that open carry wasn't a problem. And then you went the ultimate constitutional carry. You don't even need a permit. As long as you're, not a felon and you're of a certain age, I guess that's primarily it. And we're one of those few states that has constitutional carry. There are some others. But you've done a fantastic job out there. And your organization is really very powerful because this last election cycle, your organization, along with Liza Greavy's organization on parental rights and choice and things. MAHA. Those two organizations backed quite a number of candidates, and I believe you all won every single candidate you backed except for one. That was a remarkable thing. And you've got people that hate you at the Capitol.
I don't care if they hate me, but they're going to respect what we do, and it's also ironic. There's ones that have disagreed with us in the past, been screaming mad at us at the past, have actually, since we maintain a working relationship with members at the legislature, have actually come to us for help on certain items. And if you look at things from a liberty perspective, and you don't get hung up on the political parties, you can still get things accomplished. And you can get, like in 2010, when we first started getting things passed, there was 7, 8, 10 Democrats I could count consistently for Second Amendment votes. And that just does not exist now. And
Oh, it doesn't?
No, the party has just completely shifted over to this side. And when we, OK2A, we send out a survey, I send them out to Democrats, independents, if you can find them, or libertarians, and so forth, to get information to see who to support. I personally, you can think I'm crazy, and I'm on the executive committee for the state GOP, and I was also a Republican elector for Donald Trump in the last election. I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're Democrat, whatever. I want you to stick to the Constitution. At this point, we find a greater participation with that with Republicans, and that's conservative Republicans. I'm being very generous overall.
Are you saying that within Oklahoma, anyway, just in Oklahoma, that the Democrat voters are drifting away from the right to self-defense?
In the legislature, yes.
So is there a disparity there? Do the Democrat voters not know that the Democrats they're electing are not supporting the Second Amendment?
I think actually we have OK2A members who are still Democrats. Their parents were Democrats, their grandparents were Democrats. They don't want to give it up. And I get that. My mom was like that for a lot of years, and she finally saw the light and switched over too. But it's unfortunate that in fact, let me back up a little bit. During COVID, there were Democrats who isolated themselves on these votes and would vote from their office. And since they were isolated, they were voting probably 50, 60, 70% of the time with Republicans, not knowing what the other Democrats were voting.
Oh, they weren't looking around then, right?
They weren't looking around. They weren't seeing who the boss was and giving a thumbs up or thumbs down.
No peer pressure.
Their leadership has a big influence on them.
Absolutely. And leadership is supposed to have an influence, but it should not be a total control. And unless it's some crazy stuff, which we do have that out there too, because there were Republicans that were wanting to give illegal aliens an Oklahoma driver's license.
That's right.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And so OK2A spent major capital stopping that absolute annihilation of just idiot. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Why on earth? So there are those events where you just have to say, no, it stops here, it stops now.
Yeah.
Which includes, I think, boys should be in boys' sports and boys' bathrooms, and that's it. They don't need to be going elsewhere. That's one of those things where you say, it doesn't matter what political party you are, it is wrong. And so that's why OK2A, and we've had people.
It's more than just a Second Amendment organization.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, and just like she read, first off, my first objective with OK2A was take the stupid out of Oklahoma gun laws. And no shortage there, no shortage. OK2A has worked, and this year we're working to repeal the 14th felony for the legal possession or ownership of a firearm. 14 felonies for that. Can you imagine all the people that have gone to jail and stuff for who were peaceful otherwise? So that's part of what we're doing. I didn't mean to get off sidetracked there.
No, you're
but
not.
anyway,
You're not.
it aggravates me. It aggravates me that I have to look at legislators, and you brought up constitutional carry, and I'll tell you a true funny story, is that when we first started talking about that in 2010 and 11, before even open carry existed, I assure you there were legislators just literally urinating on themselves at the thought of a citizen having a gun without permission from the government. And let me back up and explain the history of this. Oklahoma founded in 1907. The Constitution for Oklahoma, 1907, a citizen has the right to keep and carry firearms shall never be prohibited. And then there's a semicolon that says, but the legislature shall regulate the carrying of weapons. So the first law Oklahoma put on the books in 1908, you shall not carry a pistol, rifle, or shotgun on or about your person, whether loaded or unloaded.
Wow.
The first
one.
And then we spent a century, okay, so you want to go hunting? Okay, here's a little bit of your right and left. Oh, you want to go target shooting? Okay, here's a little bit of that right back. Oh, you want to transport your firearm? Okay, but you can transport it, but it can't have bullets in it, and it can't be in the bullets. Can't be in the. It will give you
a lot of good if the bullet is in the firearm.
Yeah. So this is what, and of course we know the thugs didn't pay any attention to it.
Yeah.
And times haven't changed on that. So we've had to go from this concept. And back in 1989 or 90, I was in Tucson, Arizona, photography, doing some work. And these guys are walking around town, and this one guy, I bet he wasn't even 5 foot tall. Big old Stetson. He had big old shiny Rugers on each hip, walking right down through downtown Tucson, and no one said nothing. And you're like, you try that in Oklahoma, and you would be in jail.
Yeah.
And so I knew it could happen, but you go to a state where it's always been, and so I knew we had concealed carry, and we had to go to open carry to get the culture absorbed to realizing, you know what? Good guys do carry guns, and we can actually see them. And it's not just the movies that make us all out to be bad. And so that was the groundwork. But like I say, Charlie, when we first started constitutional carry, the concept of it, we knew it was a crazy. But I am a big believer and pusher for incrementalism. All of our rights were taken away in one whack at the beginning of statehood, and this is an opportunity to just get a little bit back. But
So every good good Second Amendment piece of legislation that's been passed in the last 15 plus years is because of this organization, and every bad one that's been killed or prevented is because of this organization. And in the early days, the NRA actually opposed some of your efforts, did they not?
It was actually the Oklahoma Rifle Association, which is a subsidiary of the NRA.
That's right.
And also, in all fairness, in 2019, after the Oklahoma Rifle Association was against open carry and they were against constitutional carry, the National Rifle Association fired the Oklahoma Rifle Association's board of directors and started over. Well, that's good.
That's good.
But here you go, guys. The Oklahoma Rifle
You had to
Association.
fight for it, though.
But the Oklahoma Rifle Association this year killed carry in the state capitol, concealed carry in the state capitol, and it was done by the lobbyists of the Oklahoma Rifle Association. And the president of the Oklahoma Rifle Association is on the board of directors for the National Rifle Association.
Okay.
The
Well,
battle continues. Huh?
Yeah.
so just kind of an interesting story here. Maybe the first time I met you, Don, I'm not sure. You came to an OPAC meeting, and I had Tim Gillespie speaking that day, and that's the first time. You didn't come to hear him, you just came to the meeting that day. And so Tim is a pastor, but it didn't take me too long to realize that you were probably a little more articulate than Tim was, and I was really happy to see you become the executive director of it. In the early days, we had a meeting one time and trying to support the organization. So you were going to give away a gun. And it was a big shotgun, a nice shotgun. So I told everyone at the meeting, if they joined OK2A, they'd get 10 tickets. If they joined the Gun Owners of America, which is the No Compromise national organization, they'd get 5 tickets. And if they brought their NRA card and let us tear it up at that time, they'd get another 5 tickets. I ended up winning that shotgun, and I turned it right back over so they could use it again at another meeting to raise more money. And at that next meeting, that young man that won that, he was about 22. He wasn't about to turn
He won't turn that one back in.
He was really excited to get it. But, we know and understand that our U.S. Constitution gives us the right to own and bear arms. But our Oklahoma Constitution does not do that as yet, if I'm not mistaken.
It is a double negative. It actually, I use the term oxymoron.
Okay.
It says your right to keep and bear arms shall never be prohibited. Well,
Okay.
that sounds fine.
Yeah.
And then there's this semicolon, and then it says, but the legislature shall regulate the carrying of weapons. Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If it won't be prohibited, why does it need to be regulated?
Yeah.
And so this is, and we're working, and there's been 2 court rulings in Oklahoma by the state Supreme Court and the Criminal Court of Appeals that have both reaffirmed that the legislature can outlaw the possession of a pistol, and it's still on the books today.
So we've got to go for that one.
Right.
We've got to get our Constitution changed.
And since 2013, we've been working to change the state constitution, and the Republicans kill it every time.
Wow.
So,
Well, Don, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Because it's my understanding.
I only
that-
take them in English, just make sure, okay?
I only know half that language. The issue of firearms and carrying them, even open carry and all that, can almost make it seem like a wild, wild west here in Oklahoma. It might be how it's perceived, and it might be perceived as being bad for business. And business, it makes sense in a business community. You want calm waters, all right? So predictable calm waters so people can transact business. Let me ask you, going through this whole process of highly restrictive all the way to constitutional carry, where anybody can just open carry down the street, unless they commit a felony, some small restrictions. Have you seen, or checked out even, I don't even know, have you seen the idea of the crime rate, whether it be by robbery or even by murder, whatever it might be, have you seen a change, either increase or decrease, that can be related to the legislation and how it's changed over the years?
Well, I would love to say it's directly related to the legislation, but I think it's directly related to even Granny's carrying a gun, and you better be careful because she can just put one through you.
Well, but you have seen some kind of a correlation.
Yeah, the crime has gone down, period. It's gone down. Now, it's also gone down in the last year and a half specifically because you're having illegals removed from this state and country, which contributes to that also because that's who we were needing to defend ourselves from, part of this. And then also the gang violence, which still goes back to a lot of these illegals, was a contributor to the violence that was taking place.
And that can be demonstrated by the numbers? You
Yes.
actually see
Yeah.
that in the numbers?
Right,
Okay.
right. It's actually dropped.
I would
So-
imagine you measure those. Have you ever published those?
The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation publishes it.
They do. Okay. OSBI
Yes.
publishes those numbers.
Yes.
So anybody can go to their website, and maybe with some digging, I'll actually find them.
It's actually listed pretty easy. It says, I forget technically what it's called, but it's on the website, and I can actually find it, so it can't be that tough.
So says the guy who still has to take his shoes off before he walks to the house, and he gets a coupon for ice cream.
That's right. Is that
Where's
gone
mine?
already?
All right, okay.
So how many chapters are there in the state?
We have over 50 counties. We go by counties. And we have over 50 counties that we have some organization in. Some of them have multiple counties involved in one, but there's actually 50 counties that we actually have some type of a representation.
And which county has maybe Aya could answer this.
Yeah.
Which
one
county has the
largest
largest
membership?
attendance?
And who is the leader of that county organization?
Who might that be?
Well, if you want to get something done right, sometimes you got to get a woman involved. And Aya Kelly has done an awesome job at bringing them in. In fact, it's more of just get out of her way kind of thing. And you get some people like that from time to time. We've had Terry Thompson did that up in Kay County. We've got some people out in Cherokee County that are just taking over that are go-getters. Lincoln County, oh my gosh, they've sparked. And if I'm missing someone, I'm missing someone. But
Tanya Jackson in Lincoln is firing it up there quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean they're right. I think the first meeting had 65 or 70 people at it.
Yeah.
So,
outstanding.
But these are people. Which this is what I love. They think, oh, Don, you need to have tens of thousands, and I'm like, you know what? No, you need to listen like Gideon. Gideon did what he had to do with 300 people.
Yeah.
And if you got 300 people that when I send out a text, when I send out an email, and I say, you need to call this legislator, you need to do this and this, and they're ferocious about it. And we've also got a crew of people, and this is what I love too, people that are homebound. They sit and they watch TV, they watch their rights being taken away and this stuff. I said, okay. And these people I've got convinced, you call, and when you've called and they've hung up the phone, then you call again. Because they didn't quite get it all the first time. Then you call and send another email. Yeah. And that they'll just keep doing that too. And I tell you what, there is nothing better when you can I can take my phone out, send out a text to tens of thousands of people, and in minutes, a phone is just melting down. And I love it when they say, Don, would you tell them to stop calling?
Call off the
and I'm like,
right?
Yeah, I'll get right on that. Yeah. Because they're calling you right now because you would not respond, you would not listen, you wouldn't, I mean, like I say, just tell me no.
Yeah.
And there's been times legislators have told us no when they should be telling us yes. And we didn't go after them because at least I got an honest response.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's worth something because if it didn't help you right at that vote, it might help you down the road because they knew you just weren't out to just tear things up. And politically speaking, could be firearm speaking too, I prefer to go after situations by a sniper instead of carpet bombing.
Yeah.
Because carpet bombing, you're spread out, you don't know what else you're hurting.
Right.
But when you go specifically after a target, political target, and I mean that not physically, but politically, that it's amazing the reverberation that will take place in that state capitol. You're right. You walk in there, they'll hate you. But they're going to respect us. And I'll tell you right now, since that filing period is coming up here in a few weeks, there's some senators that have been really nice to me.
I bet.
It's amazing, Charlie, how that is.
Why would they fear you? Would it by chance have something to do with maybe a grading system?
For starters, there's no reason to fear us. You should fear violating your constitutional oath you took to protect us. That's what you should be fearing. And not holding up to that. And some of these votes, I agree. I feel for these legislators because I have to tell you, if I put myself in their shoes, and if a vote came up on insurance and all that talk inside there, which just glazes my eyes over, I have to admit, I don't know what I would do. But what is great about OK2A is that if something comes up and it says firearm, my phone will be bouncing. What is this bill? What is this bill? And I thought maybe I'd already contacted and let them know. But mostly we deal with from the point of we've educated so well. If we tell you it's a problem, it's a problem. Otherwise, we're good with it. And that's how we're fortunate enough to move through quite a bit of these things. And like I say, legislators, we've saved them from doing some really dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Dumb stuff. I said, well, look, you realize with this bill, you're outlawing gun shows. What? Yeah, that's what this bill does. Because it just doesn't say we're outlawing gun shows, but you don't know what other tentacles these things go to and stuff.
Right.
And we've dealt in it. we've dealt in it enough. I mean, I call the Oklahoma Self-Defense Act basically a Bible. I know it. Now, if you take me to the Bible, I can tell you John 1:1. I can read the first book of John. I know it.
You mean you're one of those Christians?
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just know it. So when I say, well, what about this? What's in 1277 or it's in 1290.22 or and I'm telling them what it is that it's messing up and how the two coordinate each other. And
Sure.
the other good thing
Sure.
too is she mentioned I graduated high school barely. Okay, I'm your C student. That's me. But it's something when professionals in the state legislature, attorneys, call me and ask my opinion on how a law is or how we read it or how we look at it. Man, you've done some good. You've done some good there.
John Essential Legal Service, right?
No, but
Lawyers?
Well,
Right? Hear that, Charlie?
But the funny thing is, when a police officer asks me, "Well, you an attorney?" Nope. But they ask me questions. They ask me my opinion on stuff. But so. But like I say, but again, it's a small amount. I'm not about to tell you I know all this other external stuff. Not even close. But when it comes to Self-Defense Act, I just happen to know because I've been a firearm instructor. I've taught classes for years, and I know because, like I say, I was teaching a class. It's a felony for me to leave my gun in the car to take an armed security guard class. Can anyone see the oxymoron in this? Armed security guard, but you can't have a gun. So, like I say, this is stupid, and it was the first bill. I learned how Republicans will do anything they can to kill it. And I also learned that there was this little bitty black senator from North Tulsa named Eastman. And I went in and I talked to her. I said, look, I just want to be able to leave my gun in the car while I go take this class at Votech. And she goes, young man, I like you. And she signed that bill out. And those Democrats and Republicans crucified her.
Ooh, really?
So my advice is, if you don't go in here being hateful and ugly, you go in here trying to maintain a conversation, because what may not work for you on this time will blow you out of the water the next time. I would have never believed this lady would have. She was as liberal as she voted against the bill, but she signed it out so it could be heard on the floor.
Don,
Yes.
Holy cow.
Do you ever have members that you encourage to run for a seat, or you just simply work with the ones that file?
Since we're an unlimited PAC, I can't work with the candidates. So there have been people that have asked me before they ever did a declaration what we thought. And so the answer is yes. Well, and I tell them straight up front, and it's on all of our paperwork, once you declare, we just have to work from the high stands. We can't be down there on the field with you. So, but yeah, also the amount of people that come to OK2A, because we have a candidate survey that we have filled out, and it used to only be 7 questions, and now it's 55.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty extensive.
And we're getting ready to expand a couple of more questions to it, and people think, and it's hysterical when a candidate is filling this out, and they'll contact me, or thinking about this, and they go, why do you care about if someone is pro-life, if they care about the life of the baby? Why do you care what happens about illegal forfeitures? What do you care about vaccine stuff? What's that got to do with you? I said, well, it's all about liberty. And the Constitution, it all ties together. All ties together. Yep. And this last week, we had a bill that was passed, it's failed, First Amendment protection. Just so a citizen can be in a committee room and have this right here and be recording. And you can't do
that's for transparency, right?
For transparency.
Yeah.
And for
that's a good thing, isn't it?
It used to,
but it failed.
And it failed. It was voted down by the Republicans in the House. And so, and here's the other part. It only applies to the state legislature.
Yeah.
Every other open meeting, you can do this, and there's not a thing they can do or say or touch you with it. Obviously, if you're not out trying to make them, if I'm not, doing that kind, all that kind of stuff. So. But again, this is the Republicans that voted this down. and it was Republicans that voted against Second Amendment rights this year, so a person can carry a concealed handgun while in the Oklahoma State Capitol. And the irony of all this, too, is, we can't have this. Well, you know what? Texas has had it for over 10 years. Kansas has had it for 14 years. Michigan and Wisconsin have it.
Those conservative states
you
up
tell
there?
me those people in Texas are better behaved than we are. You will never convince me of
Well,
that.
what are
Never.
legislators afraid of?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I just know a person that we have the bill written that they have to have a license. So when they go through, they're showing that license. That means they've already been vetted by the state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
They've been vetted by the state. And Kansas doesn't even require that. You just say, I got a gun, and they let you walk through the metal detectors. So I don't know, other than, I'm just afraid that someone will have it. Yeah, but you know what? They're already there now, and you don't know it. And they're getting past the guards, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
They're doing it. And I know that because they've told me so. So, and here's the other part, too.
Don, I've got a
Well,
pocket
hang on,
knife
let
with
me
two-
just,
okay,
let's
go
last
ahead,
part.
Go ahead.
A citizen like myself walking from that state capitol all the way back out to your car, which is 2, 3, 4 football fields. There's a lot of people in distance in there that have explained to Don Spencer why they didn't like him out in that area.
Yeah.
And so here I am, unarmed. I'm a cleat certified firearm instructor, a licensed security officer, and you guys I can't be trusted to be responsible anywhere else. So anyway, sorry, what you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got a pocket knife, a 2.5-inch blade. Can I take that in the Capitol?
I don't know what's stopping you.
Well, I didn't know if I could or
No,
not.
these right here
Yeah.
were illegal till 2016. What's that look like? Where's the camera at?
Pocket knife.
Right there. That is a pocket knife. Now, before 2016, they would not let you take that in there.
Okay.
Now, we got it passed, and in 2016, I had to threaten to sue the state safety, Oklahoma Department of Public Safety, because of this right here. And we forced them to comply with state law. And they said, and they sent me some hogwash that, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol can patrol the grounds. Well, great, patrol the grounds. It had nothing to do with the knife. So anyway, but we made, and by the way, that's that's what that is. That's an out the front knife.
Yeah.
It's a switchblade.
Where can I buy one of those?
No problem. But anyway, but yes, carry your knife in. Even though there's a sign up there that says you can't, you can.
Okay.
And if they buck you on it, you tell them Don Spencer will be talking to them.
Okay.
It'll happen.
That's the highway patrolman there.
The Oklahoma Highway
Yeah,
Patrol, and
right.
by the way, they do know Don Spencer.
Yeah, I'm don't doubt that. So, Don, let's talk about red flag laws. We were the first state in the union that did something about that, maybe the only state. Tell us what happened on the red flag law.
We had some great legislators, the anti-red flag law, which was Senator Nathan Dahm at the time. And he had a great idea. It was all on him, and we just supported it and went with it. But in Oklahoma, the state cannot use any federal tax dollars to implement a red flag law. And the red flag law is that if they suspect, if your neighbor says, hey, I'm calling 911 and I saw Charlie Meadows with the gun carrying it in the house there, and he stumped his toe and he was cussing and spitting, and I think someone needs to check on him and make sure. And so they thought, that's Charlie. We need to go take his guns from him so he don't hurt himself or somebody else without any judicial through a court system at all.
Right.
And not only the court system, but it also needs to be actually declared by a judge that you would not be and go through the court system instead of just some feelings on a cop or feelings on a neighbor or feelings that. And so the worst people being attacked on this, military. Military, there is the biggest Second Amendment assault is on veterans in the military.
Yep.
It's absolutely horrible.
Yep. If you have PTSD, you might not be able to have a gun, right?
No, cops have them all the time.
Okay.
Cops who suffer from PTSD virtually go through with no issue at all.
Yeah.
And
How many other states have passed anti-red flag laws?
we are the first and the only that I know of.
That's what I thought.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yep.
Now, also, constitutional carry, we were the 15th state, and now I think it's 31 or 2 states that have constitutional carry. So it's great that this has been a part of participating in that. 2019, of course, like I said, we started this in 2010-11, knowing that we would soften people up, and get things going. And but 2018, it's ironic how things work, but the bill was vetoed by Governor Fallin for constitutional carry. Mm-hmm. And you would have thought
She was a Republican.
Right on top of that, so-called.
Yeah.
On top of that, and but I got to be careful too. In all fairness, Governor Fallin signed more Second Amendment legislation into law than any other governor. She also vetoed more.
Okay.
So you've got this thing in between. She signed the carrying at the VOTEC, leaving it in your car for me. That was the first
Now,
bill.
is that because there were more bills during her time, or?
No, OK2A, we've just shoved them through.
Yeah.
We've just put that many on the desk. Have they tried to slow them down? Yes. Good legislation? Yes. But see, it's an incremental proposal. First, what we did was, guns in a private school. And this was huge to me because, you talk about Scripture and the Holy Spirit coming on you. But if the state of Oklahoma can tell a private Christian school, you can't have guns, we have to control that. That means they can tell that private Christian school, you can't talk about Jesus.
Anything
we
else.
have to control
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And that's where it means that the whole Constitution has to come together here. The whole thing has to fit. And so, incrementalism, we got it passed so teachers could carry in a classroom while in a private school. Okay, and that led the way. We got it passed so teachers could carry in a public school. They have to jump through extra hoops, but they can still do that. And so we just keep incremental. And, we need to be able to leave our guns in the car while we're at the school. It's a felony. We got that repealed. It got it repealed from the private school. And so you just keep knocking these little chisel things down because it's making more sense as you go. Mm-hmm. And so that leads the doorway to 2018 on constitutional carry, and for the first time being on the desk of the governor. And so I knew pretty much she wasn't going to sign it because she wasn't taking any calls or responding, which is kind of what you see with that. But here was the crazy thing. It was probably the most times I ever got the most death threats imaginable. And I was accused of that I didn't want it because since I'm an instructor, it was going to be cutting into me teaching classes and making money. And I'm thinking, gosh, folks, I'm working to put myself out of business. There's groups, and I'm going to say the names of them, but there was groups that thought this was going on. But I knew, you know what, this is going to be the best springboard, and it became true. It was the issue for the 2019 election, 2018 election cycle, and Governor Stitt. He made a part of it, and there was a guy named, you guys remember Mick Cornett that was running, and we told everyone how horrible Mick Cornett was because he had already done so much. He was on anti-gun groups as a mayor, and so it became an issue, and it was a catapult to the issue. And in 2019, you've never seen this, the bill went through as fast as it possibly could, introduced in February and passed and signed into law by February the 27th.
Both chambers? All the way through?
Both chambers.
Signed by the governor.
Signed by the governor. First bill from the governor. Now,
in 3 weeks.
Now, this is how, exactly. And this is how the OK2A works. Because since I know these people, a lot of it, I saw what was going on. And there was this marijuana bill that was coming up pretty quick.
Sure.
And going through pretty quick. And so I sent word to the governor's office. I said, you don't want your first bill signed to be on marijuana. You want it to be a gun bill. This is what you ran on. Meanwhile, Moms Demand Action, an anti-gun group, during this time was also, they had 40 or 50 people running around the red shirts and no constitutional carry and stuff. I said, they're going to have a rally up here on this day. We need to have it signed the day before. And that's what we did. We had it signed the day before that they were going to have the rally, because I let the leadership know this is what was going on, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to have to deal with that. And so that's how you get some things squelched. So it works for you in both directions.
Yeah.
There's stuff that works against you.
Was the rally held?
It was about like a burp in church.
Yeah.
It didn't go over real well.
Is that group still around?
Yes, but they don't show up because
Okay.
we basically deflated
sounds like
them.
a
They,
little
they
bit of
know we're
manipulation.
working that
Yeah.
well with it.
Yeah.
So the rules can work in your favor, right?
Yeah, but you got to know the rules.
Yeah, I think the chamber rules are kind of interesting between the Senate and House, and what gets published and what, what we all understand and what doesn't. It's its own creature.
Right, but like I say, the rules should never be weakened because the legislature's uncomfortable about something. So if Don Spencer wants to sit there and hold my thing up, my camera up, and my phone up and take video, and they say they use the excuse, well, we've got video up here. Yeah, but it chops it out. And there's also, I take still pictures of every vote, because there's times that miraculously a bad vote didn't show back up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you got to be there. And OK2A, I am a lobbyist. I have to. I don't want to be. And I didn't become a lobbyist until 2019 because I just worked for free. And I said with the board of directors, I said, folks, let's build this up enough so we can have a paid lobbyist up at the Capitol and continue this on. And they said, well, we've had members that have said, well, I don't know if I want to contribute. I almost said OK2A can do. What more? Constitutional carry. Open carry. A whole slew of stuff. And so what is it you need to wait? It's like, Jesus, show us one more miracle. No, I'm not Jesus, but it's kind of along the same line. So you deal with this, but I tell you, one of the most rewarding times, and it's tough for me to tell you without just breaking down, but to get a phone call, and I usually get these phone calls Friday night after 11, Saturday night, 11:30. And it's usually some drunk dial, hey, Don, man, thank you so much. You're yeah, thank you too. And then there's some people that aren't real happy. But I get this one call from this lady, this grandmother. I'm telling my wife, oh, here goes. So, and she says, is this Oklahoma Second Amendment? So I said, yeah, this is Don. Can I help you? And she said, yeah, I want to thank you because my granddaughter was at the Louis in Oklahoma City where you guys got the law passed so that military guy could pull his gun out and shoot that guy that had just shot my granddaughter.
Wow.
And she survived because he could have a gun and he could stop them. And, that's when I think I'm doing something right here. And so we've been fortunate to continue to move that forward because it was constitutional carry for military, but it wasn't for the rest of us. And again, incrementalizing.
Yeah.
Incrementalizing. And we're going to have it, folks. You can just hear my voice. We're going to be carrying guns in that state capitol, and it's not going to be a big deal at some point. It's just going to happen.
You mentioned it, Don. The OSBI statistics demonstrate that the crime rate has been dropping through the years. And I mean, think about the real impact. It's not just passing a bill or creating a law. It's the benefit we in society enjoy.
Right.
How many people are walking the street today, alive or uninjured, and we don't even know that a crime was thwarted because somebody was carrying.
Right. Exactly. And the NRA says that there's over 1 million thwarted crimes by citizens every year. Yeah. I don't know how they keep track of that. I don't know how accurate it is. But I know it happens because I know in my life it's happened twice. I pulled a gun for the act of self-defense, pointed it at a person, and they thought, you know what, I think I'm in the wrong place. But all of a sudden Don becomes with Mr. Smith & Wesson, a party of three, out of that. And so I just know in my, so leading up to that, this last year in 2025, we had a bill that is every bit, if not more significant than constitutional carry was in 2019. And it's called the Private Property Protection Act. And people don't realize how big this was, and it took 5 years to accomplish it, and it was the Republicans that killed it all along. But your home is your castle. And Scripture says in Exodus 22:2 that, hey, if someone tries to break into your castle, and that it is you're not responsible for stopping that perpetrator. It just says, there it is. And so that is the right to absolute safety inside your home. We worked and expanded that all the way to the edge of your property, and it includes the defense of your property. So
Is that stand your ground?
it's better than that.
Okay,
It's not stand your ground. It is private property protection.
Okay.
Because stand your ground actually has to do outside of your property.
Right.
Anywhere you have the legal right to be, you have the legal right to defend yourself. Because that you could be at my house and that could apply. So it expands. It expands even more than that. So, but the thing is, going to the point and going to the church, what happened in Minnesota, where people go in and basically take over a church. In Oklahoma, it is to be clear that church members, anyone in that church that's lawfully there, can use their firearm to remove those type of perpetrators at gunpoint. Perfectly legal, no questions asked. Remove them from that property. We're not going to tolerate that garbage here in Oklahoma. Right. And if the first person that tells me, and especially if they're a pastor, tells me that is unchristian, you don't know Scripture, because King David had the very weapons of war in the temple. And they weren't there for showing off. They weren't there for bling. They were there for self-defense of the church, of the temple. So,
Don, we were talking a little bit before, went on air here, that the Democrats used to work with you a lot, but not so much anymore. And you've talked to us a lot about the problem with Republicans. I would suggest that the Democrats have been far more successful in purging the moderates out of their party than the Republican Party has been in purging the rhinos out of our party. I think we're doing that, but it's going to take more time.
Well, it's going to take more time because simply we got more numbers to deal with.
Yes.
That's a great point. Yeah, it used to be, like, say, 2010, I had Joe Dorman and several of those guys, they would consistently vote for gun bills. Yeah. And as those guys left, the numbers, the voting reflected Washington, D.C. and not Oklahoma. And so, as you know, to fix that with Democrats, well, you got to run as a Republican. And I don't mind a Democrat that actually says, you know what, we're going to protect the Constitution. I'm going to go as a Republican so I can win. Because we've got them in there. Some of them are good.
Yeah.
Who've been in there. So I'm not going to. But the thing is, you take an oath, and it's not an oath of convenience. It's an oath. And so we're talking about protecting the Constitution. That's unfortunate. A lot of them don't even know it.
Yeah.
Just learn the first 10.
Yeah.
That'll keep us out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Sure.
First five will help.
First 10 amendments.
So anyway.
So, well, any other
Well,
questions?
I'm kind of, yes, I have a question on the experience you have within OK2A chapter itself. What is that like? How does that add value to the work that Don does? It really, as a lobbyist down there at the state capitol, what do you think?
Yeah, so, all of us were working pretty hard for the past few years trying to get President Trump reelected. And then we had that big victory, and it was kind of like, what next, right? And for me, I really wanted to see our Capitol cleaned up. And I feel like that when you can grow a local chapter like this, that you can effect votes. So if you have 100 regular attending members like we do, and they go home and tell 5 people, I mean, we've lost some votes here in our county with just a matter of, 20 or 30 votes. Mm-hmm. And so when you can draw a crowd like that and you work really hard to turn that ground and bring new people in, I think that that's where you can really, really put a mark on Election Day.
Sure.
If my memory serves me, the previous president of the chapter here, who had owned a gun store, had the last meeting he had as a president, there were 2 or 3 people showed up. And you asked Aya to take over, and the very first meeting was 100 people.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
actually, technically, I had lost a bet, so that's what happened.
Okay.
She's pretty smart, but she still lost a bet. She had to take over. She had to. I said, "Oh, you got to make the best one to stay," and she said, "Okay." So anyway, I don't remember what the bet was. I think it was an ice cream bet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway.
Something like that. But she's done a great
I
job.
did.
Absolutely
But see,
fantastic.
and
job.
I is not the only one.
Yeah.
We got them across the whole state. And they're just like the rest of us. They just want their rights protected. They want, and actually in our case, we want them back. They've been taken away from us.
Right.
They should have never been taken
Right,
away at
right.
all. And then they're learning, because I've had critics, "Oh, Don, you just need to stay in your lane, Second Amendment." I said, "No, you need to get out of my way, because the lane is liberty." That's the lane. And so we're teaching and educating people, because like I say, OK2A, we work on education process here. People say, well, where's this say in law? We've got it. We've got people who never even knew this is a Self-Defense Act quoting the law here in Oklahoma, what an officer can and cannot do if you get pulled over. Officer cannot take your gun from you. Oklahoma law says he can't do that unless he can articulate a criminal act. Well, 10 miles an hour speed limit is not a criminal act.
Right.
It's stupid, but there are some people that do drive a little faster than that. I better be careful.
Are there?
That's how she gets to the meeting so quick.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, but educating people on their rights. Well, what can I do on a college campus? What can I do on a school campus? What can I do in a city park or a state park? And so we've done this too. We over 36 times, 36 times. Some city will put a sign up in the park that says "No guns allowed." We have people so well trained that they're responding with, "This is the law you're violating, and this is the law, and I will sue you under this law." And they're coming down without having me even having to get involved in it. So, and there's nothing like Oklahoma State University saying that, "Well, we're Oklahoma State University, we can do what we want." Nah, we can leave our guns in the car there. There's nothing
Law
we can do
applies
about it.
to them too, huh?
Exactly.
And that's the sad part. I think a lot of the general citizen doesn't know what our freedoms are, and that's why we lose them, because we don't know
Right.
what they are. I did have a question, because we had our sheriff in here a few times back, and we were talking about Logan County being the first sanctuary county for Second Amendment. I was wondering, did you two visit on that a lot?
Oh
before
yeah,
that happened?
Devereaux throws strikes. He does a great job.
He wasn't hard to convince.
No, he wasn't hard to convince. In fact, Logan County also was the first county to allow employees to carry while on the job. It seemed like there was one other thing we did. But no, Devereaux is exactly the sheriff you need. And he'll probably tell you too, it's easier for him to do the job knowing we here in this county want it that way. So, and we endorsed him, and like I say, I hope I don't get any speeding tickets from his deputies, that kind of stuff. But no, he's done a good job. And like I say, we also gauge things at OK2A by complaints of law enforcement. So Tulsa County leads in the complaints against law enforcement, in abuse of people with their guns, their rights, and so forth. Logan County, and I hate to say this because I don't jinx them, I've had no complaints from anyone
Wow.
about the Logan County Sheriff's Department articulating any kind of a problem with them on their rights. Yeah. So, like I said, yeah, there's peripheral stuff you could probably, but I say when you get to the meat of it, no, it's been good, and I'm great to support Sheriff Devereaux.
I've got one last question for you,
Good.
Don. And,
I charged about the question, but go ahead.
okay, well, this one is, you said there were, 36 states that have constitutional carry?
31 or 2.
31 or 2. So do we recognize their states, and do they recognize us?
Oklahoma's reciprocity is if you're 21 years of age and you're qualified to buy a lawful firearm, you can carry it in the state of Oklahoma. So
Regardless of what state you're from?
right. As long as you're a U.S. citizen, that is correct. And also includes, what's the term, someone's here legally. I forget the legal term, but if they're here legally, they can also, and they can.
They're
they can
permanent
Not a
resident.
citizen,
Permanent resident.
but they're-
Permanent
yeah.
resident. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Right, so they can also carry, because we also wrote to make sure that that was in there.
So are there states that recognize Oklahoma's right for constitutional carry?
There's, well, those same 30 states, just,
31.
I think just about all of them do recognize carry.
Is there a place we can go and find out what those states are?
Yeah, there's an app on my phone that I can show it to you, you can
Okay.
download it, but it's
Was it on your website?
no, the app's,
Okay.
excuse me, the app's on my phone, and
Okay.
it's easier to keep it on my phone than my website.
Okay.
For those who would like to join OK2A and hopefully financially support OK2A, to continue on this good work, where do they go?
OK2A.org is our website, and right there it says join, donate. You can click on that. We ask you to join. You have to fill out some stuff. Please do it online. It works so much better because our secretary can keep track of it all digitally, and we have to go through all the Ethics Commission garbage on everything, and so we find it's very important. Also, if you guys don't mind, if I can go back, Ethics Commission stuff. There was mailers that have been sent out in the last week talking about Senate Bill 743. And I did an update on this recently on the same thing. And Senate Bill 743 makes us imaginary 8-foot bubble zones on public sidewalks out in front of churches. And it also makes another 100-foot bubble zone within the door. And there's some other mile bubble zone, I forget what it was. But I cannot imagine a more unconstitutional law that if pastors supported this, you should be shamed, just ashamed of such a thing. Because what's going to happen, this is going to be used against you when you think it was protecting you. Because what's going to happen is that same person that is carrying a sign, now if they're carrying a Bible and somebody else is offended, they're going to make a law that says you have to stay 8 feet away from me. Or if I'm openly carrying a gun, you're going to have to stay 8 feet away from me. It won't end. It's a cancer. And that Oklahoma pastors supported this through their ignorance, and I'm going to say stupidity, for doing such a thing and asking and requesting this to be
Who's the
done.
author of those bills?
Todd Gallagher, and I don't remember who the House author was on it. But the first original part of the bill is fine. The first was if you interrupt a church service, it raised the fines. Well, great, yeah, we all agree with that. Mm-hmm. But then making that imaginary 8-foot bubble, it's so unconstitutional. It's absolutely horrendous, and I hope it gets turned over in the courts or that the legislature gets its backbone and repeals it.
So is it passed already?
It's signed by law.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, the governor signed it within 2 hours after it was passed, a couple hours.
Didn't check with you then, did he?
No, I thought we had a little more time,
Yeah.
but that's okay. But like I said, that's one. And then also last week, this bill passed, and you may think this is crazy, but whatever. Taxing milk when I go to buy it, if I was able to go buy it at a farm, I go there to purchase it. The controls on these people to sell me a gallon of milk, raw milk, is absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
And as a kid, Charlie, I'm going to borrow your cup here. As a kid, this is what my grandparents would hand me to go out to their dairy, fill it up, and drink it. No one died. You like that? That's what it sounds like.
Sound effect.
No one,
Weren't we afraid of that heavy cream in there?
Yeah.
Like clog your veins or something?
you said it 1,000 times.
Right, and people 100 years old will tell you they did the same thing when they were a kid.
Yeah.
But then they put a 2-cent tax on that. Republicans, we're not supposed to be raising taxes and creating taxes on people. We're supposed to be getting government out of the way. And you're extending more government to it. So any House, this was passed out of the Senate, any House representative, I'm going to let you know right now, we consider this bill an absolute threat to security and safety for our state, because government needs to get out of the way. If I want to go to a farmer and buy milk or whatever it is none of government's business what I'm doing there or during that transaction.
Didn't
None
we
at all.
just pass a law to remove sales tax on groceries?
Yes.
What are they doing? Turn around and put sales tax on
Right.
raw groceries.
And the thing, and
We should close.
and here's what tells me is that we spend money on gas to cover the roads going to there. So I don't know what other, and we pay property tax to be there, which should not happen. So why do we need another tax? And so this is Republicans doing this garbage. I'm sorry.
No.
Don't get me started, Bob.
Okay.
Somehow we went from Second Amendment to raw milk, but this is
And
great.
we're-
Anyway.
It all works
we're short on-
together.
We're just short on time, that's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
sorry.
You're okay, Don. I
I'll
love
go
your
home now.
enthusiasm.
I'm gonna get some ice cream. How's that? That always calms me down.
Just take your shoes off before you walk in the front door. Yes, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. We're dealing with the whole issue of the Second Amendment, the right to self-defense. Hope you carry on to support that and support OK2A. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you.
Yay, our side.